The history of YouTube animation. Animation has evolved and changed so much on YouTube and the internet as a whole. Of course, we can't talk about the history of YouTube without addressing Newgrounds. For years, Newgrounds was the forefront of online animation, but with the unprecedented popularity of YouTube, animation slowly declined on Newgrounds, and YouTube took center stage. That isn't to say that animation on Newgrounds is dead, but it is nowhere near as popular or prominent as it used to be. YouTube has become the predominant website of online animation. Animation on YouTube has gone through a lot of different periods. Video game parodies, Lego animation, Minecraft animation, short animation films, abstract animation, horror animation, be it trends, viewer interest, or the YouTube algorithm itself. I think there's a lot to be said about showing respect to those who came before you and paved the way. People like Ed Gould, Harry Partridge, Alan Becker, Eagle Raptor, Hot Diggity Demon. This doesn't just apply to people, but also animation as a whole. Whatever the time period, the style, tone, intent, atmosphere, animation on YouTube will always be around. Everything has its time in the sun until it can no longer stay there. As someone who is deeply passionate about animation as a viewer and for a short period of time a creator, it's a medium I have a lot of love for. Variety, it's the spice of life, and no, that isn't just a saying, it's the honest truth. YouTube animation, regardless of wherever it goes, how hard it may get, it'll always be around. But right now I feel like the focus is too much on one genre. Every genre gets to a point where it's so popular to the point that it's unchallenged. But an underlying issue is fatigue and oversaturation. And look, we've all seen this happen with any kind of genre, with any kind of channel or community type. It just happens, it is what it is. Gaming channels used to be at the top, and what happened? Fatigue, oversaturation. In animation you can do things that you simply can't do in other mediums. It's at its best when there's freedom, when there's choice. Not limitations, not restrictions. The absolute freedom of choice, that's when you truly have the best. All these different genres, all these different options, all these different animators. And it's not just the viewer, it's everyone who truly wins then. But I've said my piece on the matter. Now let's hear from each and every one of these talented animators.
I want YouTube animation to be wildly successful. That'll come as no surprise to anybody who knows me or my channel, but I figured I should make my point of view clear. And in a lot of ways, YouTube animation already is wildly successful. Some of the bigger creators in the storytime animation community pull millions of views with each new upload, and with good reason. I'm honestly so happy that we have such talented people at the forefront of the community, but even with that being the case, I have my concerns about the overall future of animation on YouTube. Specifically, I'm worried that YouTube's algorithm doesn't allow many animators on their platform to make a wide variety of content for fear that their videos will get buried, and that if this keeps up, eventually the animation community will die again. To be clear, I not only think that this is likely to happen, but I think it's almost a guarantee if something doesn't change. I am, of course, talking about the oversaturation of storytime animation videos on YouTube. Now, I want to make this clear. I have no problem at all with storytime animators or storytime videos. I absolutely adore the work of many storytime animators, and I've even dabbled in some storytime videos myself. But there's no denying that it, like many other subgenres on YouTube, holds the potential to become the sole representation of its specific genre. See, of all the forms of animation on the platform, storytime videos are the ones that appeal most to the algorithm. After all, these videos typically aren't fully animated, and as such, they're much easier to make. Now, I'm not saying that they're easy to make, just that they're easier than full-on animation, and that's one of their biggest strengths. But within that strength lies what I see as their biggest weakness, the potential for oversaturation. No matter how you spin it, too much of anything isn't good, and if too much of a particular type of content gets made, people will eventually get sick of it. Which is to say, if people get sick of storytime animation, and other types of animation are harder to find on the platform, the genre could potentially die off again. So what should we do about it? Well, I'd say the future of storytime animation rests on the shoulders of each individual creator, and if they're able to diversify their content, then I'd say stagnation is much less likely. I'll use myself as an example. More recently, I've been trying to cover topics that don't necessarily have anything to do with me, but that I have a strong enough opinion on. In fact, I did one of those fairly recently with Liam about modern art, if you haven't seen it. But taking that even further, I find myself hoping that YouTube will find some way to tweak the algorithm so that animators who want to try other subgenres can actually do that without being punished with fewer views. My ideal future for YouTube animation would have storytime videos definitely being a mainstay, but with a bunch of other subgenres for those who may not like storytime videos. I'm talking movie reviews, game reviews, parodies, original cartoons. I would absolutely love it if YouTube became the place for independent animators. Right now, that sounds like a pipe dream, but maybe one day it won't be. Anyway, that's all I had to say, so thank you for listening, and another big thank you to Liam for having me on again.
Hi Liam, thank you for inviting me to talk in your video. My name is Lisa, and before I start, a little bit about me. I'm currently an art director for a YouTube channel called Simon's Cat. For those who don't know it, it's a 2D animated channel, and it's all about this chubby white cat who basically gets a lot in trouble with his owner, and kind of it's all based on a cat behavior, and it's very intense 2D hand-drawn animation. And in addition, in my spare time, I also make comics over on Instagram, and I run my own YouTube channel, which is fairly small, under the name Siberian Lizard. And I apologize for any noises in the background. It's just my ferrets. They're in the same room as me, so they might be making some noise. So on the topic of future of animation on YouTube, well, in my opinion, I think that animation will always have a place on YouTube. It's an exceedingly resilient and versatile medium. And to be honest, in even the darkest times of the algorithm shifts and all these kind of changes, it has managed to survive with the likes of Domix and, Swoozy, and even thrive, and now we have more creators than ever. And I think that to be honest, the key now on YouTube is efficiency, and it's a key to success and having a successful channel, especially in animation. And it's been really interesting to see where other animators kind of cut corners in a way in order to make the process much more streamlined. And I say cut corners, but trust me, animation is still a very laborious process. So it doesn't really make it that much easier, just a little faster. And the great example of this sort of way of cutting corners is one of my favorite channels, is Rebecca Parham's channel. She gave up lip syncing and sort of has quite simplified hands, but instead she has incredibly expressive poses and gestures, and she does kind of do this proper animation with exaggerated movements, which is very, very time consuming, and it takes a lot of kind of in-betweens and to get that smooth motion. And I think adding lip syncing would make it very hard to release those kind of videos regularly. And another example is everyone's favorite Odds One Out, James. And while his videos uses very limited animation on sort of transitions from pose to pose, he has beautifully painted backgrounds, very expressive poses and expressions on his characters. He actually uses different characters, have different colors. He has different sort of character for his sister, for his mom. But he also uses shading throughout the whole video, and shading can be very, very time consuming, and even the simple one. And it really starts to add up when you take into consideration cleaning up, which means putting the clean line on your sketch, and then coloring all of the frames, and then of course shading and any kind of extra special effects that you need. And then imagine kind of multiplying that by hundreds if you're animating on twos. Or if you're trying to get very smooth motions, it becomes very, very taxing and time-consuming. As an example, a single 2-minute 2D animated scene animated on twos can be as many as 800 to 1,200 drawings, depending on the complexity of the action that you have, and can take months to complete. So I think the future of animation is really picking your battles and finding ways of making these processes more efficient for you, especially if you're doing it for YouTube. Personally, while I'm still refining my process, I am currently slowly building up a library of a variety of motions that I can reuse for the voiceover bits. Also, I animate most of my videos straight ahead, which means that I don't really plan the action and I go straight into it after I storyboarded it. And it does save up a lot of time, which means I don't really have to clean up things afterwards, and I can go straight into drawing and then coloring. So back to the topic of the future of animation on YouTube, I think that the efficiency is key, and I think that it will actually inspire a variety of styles. And I'm really looking forward to seeing all the different ways that people find to sort of save time and make content more efficient and make it entertaining on kind of limited resources that they have available. I think software packages like Adobe Character Animator, which automates the lip syncing process and allows you to animate a puppet in real time, will have quite a lot of potential on YouTube, and we already see creators like Mads use technology to create some amazing looking content. Lastly, I really hope to see more animated music videos, as I think animation lends itself really well to kind of multiple rewatches, and music videos are usually short, which means that it can be kind of less work for animators, and they can really put in a lot of effort into those kind of 2-3 minutes of, you know, beautifully handcrafted animation. And it also offers vast creative opportunities that can really make a song, a piece of music, stand out of the crowd. So I think, so I really love to see more animated music videos, and I think we're gonna see more in the future, because I really feel like it's a perfect combination of the two. And thank you for having me, Liam, and I wish you all the best for your video. I'm sorry it's a bit delayed, but I hope you enjoy it. I hope this is helpful. Thanks, bye!
Hello, my name is Complaints of an Englishman. You may remember me from such great titles as Why Summer Sucks, Why I Hate Roadmen, and if you can think of it, I've probably complained about it. But why am I here? Well, this gentleman has asked me to talk about my thoughts on YouTube and how animators have had to adapt to the new rules of the algorithm. So, first things first, you want to make YouTube animations. Well, you hear that in the distance? I'm not going to show anybody your videos. Yep, that's the algorithm. Now, we all know that's killed most big animation channels because we simply cannot poop out a video or even a still frame animation every single day for the algorithm to even want to think about recommending you to people. But, do you know what you can do? You can make animated storytime videos once a month or even once a week, which gives you an insane XP boost to be recommended. Oh, look at me making gaming references in a video that's not about gaming. I sound like one of those bollocks Discord messages. Anyway, you always hear about people complaining about that animated story times have simply thrown creativity under the bus like an unwanted child in the sake of time restraints. Now, this is somewhat true with a lot of the bigger storytime channels, which can be a bit dull to watch, but there are plenty of channels filled to the brim with unique designs, character building, which is all what I mostly watch. Unfortunately, once you do start making interesting storytime videos, you do run into not being able to upload them regularly, and working on a video for 3 months for it to only be hit by the algorithm has made a lot of people end up with the same problem as the big YouTube animation channels from back in the good old days of Flash animation. So it's been a bit of a catch-22 after a while, if that makes sense. Storytime videos have made animation a whole lot more friendly to get into. You can be just about anybody and get into making your own. I'm just a mechanical technician. I'm not an artist. I've never picked up a graphics tablet before I started making my videos. So if I can do it, anybody can do it. Granted, you won't always run into success, but you can at least try. Nowadays, videos are more focused on personality than world building, which creates a lot of seemingly fake personalities. My way of combating this is just to keep being a regular bloke, instead of faking happiness for a lively audio, or fake being an introvert for clicks, because we the viewer can practically taste how you're coming across if you don't mean what you're saying. My advice to you, if you're getting into the scene, is to be yourself. As cheesy as that sounds, be your bloody self. Throw a good few jokes in, find a good topic, and make what you want. Again, I'm not granting success, but at least you're not going to get burnt out and want to end it all within the first couple of months. I've been asked if YouTube will go down the route of Newgrounds and get replaced by something else, and I'm a bit of a pessimist. So I kind of just think it's going to go down the route of MySpace and just get killed off by something bigger that appears out of nowhere, for then that something bigger to fade into a shell of its former self. I think making self-made content for money will start to decline over the years until it barely exists. I hope YouTube will sort its crap out and fix all kinds of content creators' problems, but I just don't reckon it will. What's the next genre they're gonna kill? Commentary? Vlogs? Who knows? But on that happy note, I'm going to have to say thanks for having me on the channel. It's been a pleasure. Take care and bye-bye.
Hi, I'm Dylan, and I've been asked to talk about my opinions on the future of animation on YouTube. Basically, in the past, I know YouTube animation was more of a bigger thing, focused on like parroting maybe video games or making their own original shorts and animations of maybe popular YouTube videos, stuff like that. Basically, Yeah, I mean, like, I feel in more recent years with bigger YouTubers like The Odd Ones Out, who everyone's heard about at this point, has like a book or something now, but like, I feel like it's just turning more like a story time animation thing, where like, everyone just makes kind of story videos in like the same cookie cutter formula. And I mean, if people like it, there's nothing really wrong with that. It just, I feel like there could be more originality, and like, what I hope for, like, as an animator on YouTube, is to kind of branch out and make my own original stuff. I know it's kind of hard because, like, I don't know if that's really favored nowadays by YouTube. And, like, I wish that other YouTube animators would do the same thing. I know a bunch of my friends are working on their own stuff. It really seems like a lack of development in already developed areas. I feel like most creators who've already made it big aren't trying to, like, expand their content and make it better. And, like, that's really unfortunate. I feel like if you already get big, you should try and basically evolve more, I guess. Like, for your own fans, at least. I mean, I wish that everyone's gonna do that, and I really do hope that that's the future for animation on YouTube. However, I feel like, I think that many people won't improve just for the sake of getting out a video as fast as possible, which is kind of unfortunate. But, like, I understand it. Like, these people aren't bad people at all. I'm actually good friends with a lot of people who make that type of content. However, I genuinely feel like lost the charm that, like, used to be there in, like, more early 2000s YouTube animation, which, like, kind of inspired me to do what I do now. I mean, yeah, I know a bunch of YouTube animators have already, like, started in, like, investing in advertising for games like League of Legends and, like, apps like Honey. I think there's some animated commercials for that, but I don't know, maybe it'll take to TV and then kill the genre altogether, who knows? But yeah, that's just my opinion, I guess, and I hope you can respect it.
The future? I think it's bright. I don't really keep up with the algorithm changes anymore, but lately it's been recommending videos that people love to watch. So if someone makes an amazing, hilarious and interesting animation that people want to watch all the way through, also share it with their friends, then that video will keep getting attention as long as people enjoy it. But to make a video like that, it doesn't have to be storytime, but storytelling is still key in any kind of animation or cartoon. I've seen some insanely high quality animations on YouTube with like 2K views, and at first I thought someone just stole the video and re-uploaded it, but no. It just wasn't anything interesting beside the animation quality, which alone just isn't enough to keep attention. Especially if people have the option to watch AAA quality movies and cartoons online anytime. So technically that's what we are competing with. I think the only long-lasting way to grow is to be different and have passion for your work, which cannot be faked. But I'm not talking about the whole YouTubers can only do it because they love it, and if they want any kind of profit, then they are basically the devil. No, you need to love what you do, but if you want to get somewhere, then you also need some kind of drive to keep making videos consistently. And videos that people want to watch. So far I've seen so many small and big channels that have both of those, and they look very promising for the future if we are going to see more channels with their unique spin on things. Because it's the only long-lasting way. A lot of people would say that it's the easier way if you are becoming a total clone of someone, but if you are just a sidekick or a budget someone else, then you'll just stay a budget someone else. Alright, I think that's all I had to say. Thanks for having me. Have fun with the rest of the video, Liam. See ya!
Hi, this is DDChan, and these are my thoughts on the future of animation on YouTube. Animation has grown and evolved into something that is becoming advanced and more accessible. Although people enjoy traditional hand-drawn animations like the ones on my channel, the future is pushing animation programs that make it easier to create animations without having to draw a single thing. This includes animating 2D character puppets and realistic 3D character models, which can be accessed through free software. Not only are certain animation programs able to make smooth, seamless animations, but they're also able to edit and filter an animation to make it appear as though if it were hand-drawn. The more advanced technology becomes, the harder it is for older techniques to be noticed. YouTube is a place that thrives on what's trending, and unfortunately, this means that YouTubers like me are going to be much harder to come across in the future.
Hi Liam, so I decided actually not to script this video or script this recording just because I thought that I couldn't capture how well I could do it normally. So I just kind of want to speak my mind on it, I guess, if that's okay. Personally, I think that YouTube storytime animation is in like a really weird phase right now. I think that a lot of it is really good. There's a lot that's been changed from previous years, where creators now are growing up and they're stepping up their content to actually be more diverse. Because I think one thing that a lot of people forget about when they made those claims that, oh, these animators are like so like old and like unoriginal and stuff like that, is that a lot of these people were kids, and we all started off copying someone, because that's how you get a footing. That's how you get started. You can't, like, no one starts a completely original 100% easy idea. No one, even some of the most creative people nowadays, started off following someone, learning from someone, or just trying something out that was new, even if it maybe was copying them. I don't know. I think it's in a really good place right now, because lots of these kids growing up, changing, making their content a lot more diverse and a lot better. And I really think that it's good to see on the platform that there's a lot more diversity in the community. Because I know personally, I started off just doing storytime animation, but now I don't think I even want to continue doing that stuff. I want to change and branch out, and I think there's a good thing to learn about that, I guess. That's what I think about animation on YouTube. I personally think that it's in a pretty good spot, and it's a lot better than previous years. I think previously there was a lot of, I don't know, just anger towards the community and just unnecessary hate, in my personal opinion. So yeah. Okay, Liam, I hope that was okay. I'm sorry if it's not. I don't know if this is what you're looking for or not, but I just thought it would be more truthful if I were to send it to you, me just speaking my mind on it, I guess. So thank you so much for doing this. Your channel looks really awesome, and I'm really excited to see how this turns out. Thank you again for having me on. It's really special to me that you actually reached out to me, and I'm sorry for taking so long to respond, but thank you. And I really hope that the video does well. Hope that your channel blows up. And have a good day. All right. Bye.
The future of animation on YouTube. I feel like it's kind of reached a point where storytime will sort of plateau and like not become dead. There won't be as many like storytime animators appearing. But personally, I feel like animation on YouTube as a whole will sort of like slowly but steadily increase. But at the same time, with like YouTube's algorithm, it might not. If animation was to increase on YouTube and become bigger, I'll be pretty happy with that. Most of the channels I watch are animation channels, and no, not just story time, and it would be great to see that. At the same time, with the whole story time thing, I feel like there's going to be a lot less so-called PowerPoint animators, out of the fear of getting hated on, since a lot of people's views on them have changed, sort of. In a way, I sort of think that's a good thing though, because it means the genre itself won't become too oversaturated, and you'd be able to like focus on those channels which deserve to sort of stand out and maybe make growing as a storytime animator a bit more possible. One example could be, I come across some channels sometimes which put so much effort into their art and animation, and the stuff looks amazing, but then they've only got around 200, 300 subscribers, or are barely growing. Now, I wouldn't include myself in this because that wouldn't be fair, but if you compare these people to somebody with over, say for example, 5,000 subscribers or more, or something like that, compared to their like 80, 90 subscribers, it kind of looks a bit unfair, because as weird as it sounds, and I know a lot of people disagree with me probably, but I feel like everyone wants to get something out of doing something, you know what I mean?
What's the deal with airplane food? I mean, animation, airplane, animation on YouTube about airplanes, animated. What am I doing? So Liam has asked me about my opinion on the future of YouTube animation. And Liam, you've come to the right place. Because I am a man who still lives with his mom and spends the day drawing cartoons on the internet. So personally, I'm feeling very optimistic. It's not a secret that after everyone's favorite YouTube animators like The Odd Ones Out, Jaden Animations and Fox Goodman got so popular on YouTube, there have been a lot of people joining the animation community over here. I mean, I can tell I'm one of them. So, needless to say, I think animation on YouTube is very popular at the moment. However, how about the future? Well, Actually, I feel like animation on YouTube will get less popular again at some point, if that point hasn't already happened, but I don't think it will be as bad as it used to be some time ago. I think as long as YouTube exists, there will be animation channels on here. Maybe some years they'll be more popular than other years. However, people like the odd ones out have proven that even when making content that doesn't favor the algorithm, you can get big over here, and since animating is a fun thing to do for a lot of people, I can see a YouTube without animation anymore, and I would never think it would go that far. In short, I think animation still has a bright future on YouTube. Alright, that's all I had to say. Thanks to Liam for having me on here. Wear your seatbelt, sub to Laddie, stay hydrated, and check out my YouTube channel. Link is in the description below. I don't know, I didn't write it. Okay, bye.
Next up is Michael Moy, but you probably know him better as Gildedguy. Now, because of time constraints due to the fact that Michael is hard at work on a new animation, he has sent me a text quote of his thoughts on the future of animation on YouTube. So with all due respect to Michael, I'll now be speaking on his behalf. In the short term, it seems that vlog-style, commentated animation is what is effective with audiences and the current business model of maximizing watch time. As new business models emerge, I can see more diverse, higher quality animation thriving on YouTube. We are already seeing channel memberships and stream tips that allow viewers to directly support creatives. Though I do not believe it is YouTube's responsibility to foster diverse content. As is, the platform is quite good. I get to share my art and have it automatically distributed across the world for free. I don't have to worry about hosting, bandwidth, playback issues or localization. It works 24/7. There seems to be a yearning for the glory days of internet animation. If there is concern that animation on YouTube is dying, I say let it. What is new and fresh? The business models that work will replace the old. All I can do is pass forward what I find to be good animation. Drawing inspiration from and honouring the past brings me great fulfillment, and I think people love to see that in action. Critics are not limited to criticizing the cliche and old. They also have the power to bring exposure to the unique and new. It's risky, but there is demand for it. Just like in other entertainment industries, film, television, the medium of animation will always have a future. YouTube is no different. The allure and charm of animation as an art form is too valuable to go out of style. This is my long-term view. This has given me a lot to think about. Thank you for bringing up this subject.
Okay, so this is completely unscripted. This is just my personal thoughts. I decided to go unscripted so it's more real. So basically, how I see it, YouTube loves the animators because for the most part, they're advertiser friendly, they resonate really well with the younger audience, which is what YouTube really cares about. And at a panel that I went to at VidCon, they actually said that now with the algorithm, you want your videos to be 6 to 10 minutes long, which is pretty similar to what you see a lot of animators doing. I feel like YouTube's going to keep recommending channels like the odd ones out. I feel like it's harder to get into the storytime animation community than it was back in the day. When I decided I wanted to make animations, the odd ones out had like something like 30,000 subscribers or something. When I decided that I wanted to make storytime animations, I hadn't actually heard of the odd ones out. I watched a channel called something like Luna or something. He only makes storytime videos but without the animation. But now and again he would have someone animate it, and at the time I was already coming up with a channel idea. I had like a bunch of random ideas all down for this channel. I wanted it to be animated, but I really didn't have a solid idea of what I wanted to do. At first it was more of a commentary channel that was animated, but I thought, hang on, I could do this by myself. I could tell my own stories and I could animate them. Then I discovered James and then Jaden, and when I saw them I really wanted to start posting. I thought that I'd be able to like catch up with them or at least join them, but the whole starting up a YouTube channel thing was very stressful, and it took me a year or something to actually get my head around all the stuff I needed to do. And by that time they were massive, and I'm not saying that I would have been famous, but I do feel like I would have been a lot further ahead if I started then. So make sure that you never procrastinate. I've had a few other YouTubers actually say this too, that they wish they started up earlier because they could have been there at the beginning. So yeah, I feel like it's going to be harder to become an animator now, but not impossible.
Hey, yo, what up? It's me, world famous YouTuber, the Elijah, over 5 subscribers on YouTube, and Liam has asked me to come on today to talk about the future of animation on YouTube, which, just to clarify, when I say animation, I don't just mean, like, frame by frame and hard work and effort and stuff, which all of it's hard work, video making regardless, but that's just how it's described. I mean anything told through a character that is moving, and the movement requires more than just slightly shifting it. What's the worst editing software? One of those free ones you can get on the App Store. Anyway, I feel like as of right now, animation is kind of like a downscaled version of what gaming was a long time ago on YouTube, where it was just starting to pop off and get really popular, and then everyone started doing it because that's how you get big quotation marks. It's definitely a downscaled version of that, because as much as I love this community, or some parts of it anyway, I hate to say, but you could probably do a lot more with gaming to last long than you could with animation, especially considering how long it takes. But as for the future, I feel like it'll take a similar path that gaming did. It'll rise up, it'll be at, I don't want to say it's going to be at the top, but it'll be up there for a while, and then it'll start to decline, and only those who are super mega big and can take the hits of not getting pushed through the recommended bot will be able to continue doing what they're doing. And there'll still be a few that'll pop off, and there'll be sub-genres and everything like that. If you look how similar the two communities are, well, how they started regardless, it's so drastically similar, you know? It's crazy. Because if you look back, in my opinion, it all started with James. There was probably lots who did it before, like Jazza and maybe Swoozy. But I think James was the center point of this, and then Jaden popped off, and then obviously we had something else YT, and it just kept growing and expanding from there. The same way, I can't speak to save my life, Jesus Christ, man, but the same way you have PewDiePie, and then you had Mark and Jack, and everyone who spouted out from that, and the Game Grumps. It's just such a similarity that I feel like it'll end the same way. So to answer the question, it's gonna grow, it's gonna rise, and then it's gonna slowly decline and fade away like Spider-Man did. Thanks for having me on, Liam. I'm no good without a script, and I'm almost positive what I said has no meaning whatsoever, but thanks anyway.
Alright, future of animation on YouTube. Who's at the top right now? Is it James? I think James is the highest.
No, it's definitely James.
I don't know if there's an animation channel higher than him right now.
Really?
And James doesn't consider himself an animator at all.
Mm-hmm.
No, he doesn't consider himself an animator in any context. Okay, future of animation on YouTube. Currently speaking,
That is currently
is in James's hands because he's currently the biggest quote-unquote animation channel. Jaden is a legitimate animator, so she's just behind him, I believe. And then Domix, who is also a legitimate animator.
also Rebecca Parham, don't forget her.
Yes, she's behind that. She's behind them. And she actually has a degree.
Which is pretty good. You don't need a degree to do animations though, but that is besides the point.
I just think it's just become harder. It's become harder to make a standing as an animator. But once you have that standing, once you gain that audience, it's still one of the best things on YouTube, is animation.
For most people.
I think it's some of the most enjoyable stuff.
Because the main audience on YouTube right now are the younger generation, so they love to watch these animations. That's why it's mostly successful, because of that. And also there are people like you and me who are just children on the inside.
Yeah. Aren't most of, if not all, the animators in the community just children on the inside? And for some people, literal children? It's definitely leaning towards animatics as being the most popular kind. Not just storytime animatics, but animatics of songs, music videos. It's not lucrative to animate an entire video. It's much easier just to put out the work in progress and then never finish it.
And then never finish it. Make sure you never finish it, Michael.
That's the lesson to be good at.
That's the lesson to be good at YouTube animation. You put out the animatic of whatever you want to do, then never finish it. Polish the animatic as much as possible, but never fully animate it. That's the future of YouTube. And then when you get bigger and you can afford to have more time in between uploads, then you make full-blown animations like Alex Clark, or you get a team. Everyone says the animation on YouTube is dying. It's not dying, it's shifting. Fast uploads. Essentially, there are like 3 different kinds of animations on YouTube. There's animatics, storytime animators, same thing, whatever. People who have a team, or people who are trusted enough to have subscribers and put out full-blown animations by themselves every month or so.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's supposedly, of course, the animations right now, for anybody that you see that is working individually, like by themselves, of course they can't like put out as many videos as like everyone else can. And that's why the suggestion is that put out your work in progress first, that's fine, or just put out something that looks like an animatic, because we still have to fight the algorithm, and which in my opinion, the future of the animation right now still really depends on what the future of the YouTube platform in general is, you know? Because we will never know when they will wipe us out with some other crazy algorithm shift. We're gonna die. We might die because of that.
I can name examples of all 3. Animatics, anyone in the current storytime animation community, most of them, me included.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and let me remind you, Michael, why you're so popular.
Football animation with teams, for example, Alex Clark, and that's the biggest one I can think of at the moment. And then you have people who are more or less about themselves, but take a few months in between each upload, like, say, Rebecca Perrin. Anyway, yeah, so the shifting into those 3 archetypes of animators. Oh, and I guess the 4th team, the secret 4th clan, which are the meme animators.
Like, when you made the statement that animation on YouTube is dying, well, you said it's not dying, it's shifting.
The meme animators, they're still around. They're still churning out content like crazy.
That just means that the old animation channels, yes, they have already been murdered by the YouTube algorithm. They have.
Murdered. They have.
I mean, yeah, they have all been murdered by the YouTube algorithm, which is very sad, to be honest. And it is true.
Name an animator that was murdered by the algorithm. Do it.
And it is true. It's true that it's shifting towards more to the storytime animators now, because we can produce content more faster. That's why it's completely fine when you upload works in progress or upload things that are not fully animated. It's all towards, like, to be honest, there's only one thing that can like determine the future of animation. It will always be around. It will always be around no matter how much the algorithm or anything changes, as long as you know how to manipulate the situation, how to make use of the situation, just changing your style of working a bit so that it will fit the algorithm for more success, then I think that whoever can pull it off, they can still stay on the platform and not be murdered by the algorithm. So whatever you do, you can still make it, because there's always going to be a way around it. Unless what's the most brutal algorithm that I can think of right now?
Doesn't matter. Improvise, adapt, overcome. That's how we do this. That's how animation works. It's always going to be here. You should have stopped there. Animation's going to be here forever. It's just determined by who's determined enough and crazy enough to keep going. Or people who can fund themselves.
Who can fund themselves?
Haha. I don't want to.
I mean, you can do animations for free. I do it for free.
No, animation's always going to be there.
You're going to stop right there. It's always gonna be there.
Those are our thoughts on the future of animation. Yeah, it's still here. It's not dying. It's shifting and changing and adapting to the new algorithm. Daily upload isn't possible, so we do at least bi-weekly with animatics. Because animatics still take a lot of work. And either you go at it by yourself, you have a team, or you just suck it up and take every 2 weeks and upload something.
Everything takes a lot of works, okay?
Or you make memes.
Yeah, you make me. Michael made a video, and Michael is talking about make memes. He made a video about butts, which is a meme. Guess what blew up and what's still the most popular video on his channel?
Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and cut this. We're done here. Any last words?
We are done here. May the goddess have mercy upon you.
The future of YouTube animation. So here's my opinion on what's the future for our neat little community here. So I must first say that I'm still just a beginner on this platform. I think I'm kinda aware of what the present situation is with YouTube animation. At the least, this is what I've observed while being part of the under 1,000 subscriber crowd. However, I do also have the perspective of being an animator working inside this industry as a full-time job. So I hope I can offer some ideas in this. So what do I see for the future of our community? I'm pretty optimistic about it. There's so much creativity happening here and I'm super impressed. Frankly, I see more passion and liveliness in YouTube animation than what I deal with in my day job. Of course, there's the negative drama going around within the community and the internal conflicts involving certain people or styles, but I think that's normal for any online community anyways. There will always be conflict by some people, and there will always be those who try to disrupt or take advantage of something. What I see, however, is that there is a ton of potential here in animation. The top tier YouTuber guys who are doing animation as a full-time job are slowly growing in numbers. What's fascinating is that these guys are even now hiring within the community to help them with their workload. Man, that's just amazing to me. That animators are being hired by other animators. Do you know how hard it is to find work as a 2D animator around here? Man, there's practically no booming 2D animation jobs here in the West. You have to move to Japan or South Korea for that. And they're only hiring more often because they give lower salaries and have poor work conditions there. But now, with our community, we're in the beginnings of creating some kind of an ecosystem of shoutouts, collabs, commissions, and hiring each other for our overall growth. Imagine this scenario. You're interested in animation and want to start, right? With the internet and community in place, resources that you need are all here. You can practice your animation while making videos, and this can bring your popularity up. Relevancy is an important wealth in today's modern internet age. All of the animation basics and principles are available online, and mostly, man, like from the tutorials and everything in YouTube, they're mostly for free. The only thing you need is the money to get the basic equipment, and that's it. Boom! You now have a functioning animation studio in the making. Once you have the essentials, several career paths now open up to you. You can either be just an online content creator, which a lot of us are doing now here. You can also offer up your services to other content creators and become a freelancer that way. And also, you can gather your best work to make a demo reel, and you can just apply for a studio position like everybody else, and it's already there. And heck, you can do all three of these at the same time if you're up for it. We're only just in the beginning of seeing something amazing here. This future is coming, and it starts with each one of us in the animation community. We are no longer animators who are just working for a studio. Now, you can be an animator and be an animation studio. If you're in the industry, the reality is that you're simply just another animator doing shots for somebody else's story. That's it. You don't get to contribute more besides making characters come to life. Well, for a lot of animators though, this is just fine. I mean, it's a good stable job and they enjoy what they do. I mean, me personally, I'm really happy with the day job that I'm doing right now. But for those who wants to do more and create their own worlds and characters, creating online content is the perfect place. This isn't just focused on story time either. Animation is a vast art form and you're only limited by your own imagination. Look, if you want proof of creativity happening now, just look at the channels of animated works like Scarpantre, BS Animations, Cabin Interviews, and Ferntastic Animations. More and more people are pushing their creativity to their limits. The future is bright for the animation community here. As the technology gets better and the artist keeps evolving their skills, there are so many paths that we can use to bring our stories forward. We've already proven that we can work with each other, regardless of sub count. I'm super happy to be in this part of the internet with everyone here, and proud to be a member of the animation community. Alright, well, there you go. I hope this all made sense. Okay, alright, bye-bye.
Thank you all so much for watching. I know this was an absolute behemoth of a video. The largest I've ever done on the channel, both in time and the number of people I've worked with. So make sure to subscribe and like the video. And of course, thank you so much to the 15 very talented animators. I couldn't have done this without them. 2-Bit Creations, Siberian Lizard, Complaints of an Englishman, DylanDraws, Scarpantry, DDChan, IAmTy, Always Alex, Antmation, Gildedguy, Too Edgy for This Planet, The Elijah, TheChibChibi, Spirit Shift, JeffNotes. One last thing, to get a bit more emotional here for a second. Thank you so much to the animation community. You've made me feel incredibly welcomed.